Welcome to Count Stacula on YouTube. Thank you so much for tuning into another one of my videos, y'all. Today we're going to take a look at some of my new silver pours. As you can see, my collection is expanding. But we're also going to take a look at a couple of new releases that I got in the mail recently, and they are pretty cool. So let's dive in. Alright, so let's start with one of these new releases here, and this is the Black Flag series. I believe this is the final coin in the series. I'm not 100% sure on that, but we are looking at the Henry Avery Fancy, the Fancy. And normally what I do is I show off a lot of the other coins in the series so we can see each one, but I just didn't have the time to grab all the coins and show them off. But we do have a few other series to take a look at, and I'm sure at a later date we will return and look at the entire series. But this coin is pretty cool in terms of the five that have been released. I'd give this, you know, a pretty I don't know, it's certainly not the worst. They typically like to hide the skull in the clouds, and I'm not really crazy about how they kind of just, you know, shoved it right there in the center. It looks a little bit like, you know, there's a lot of detail going on with the foreground ship and the background ship, and then you've got the skull in the clouds, but it gets the point across. We understand what's going on, and it's okay. I think it does look a little bit busy, and I'm looking for some pirates on the boat, and I don't see any. So, I don't know. Maybe some design flaws. You know, I do think that, like, a lot of these series, they definitely kind of just pump out material as quickly as possible without really giving a whole lot of consideration to the artwork behind it, knowing that they already have a following. And that is unfortunate, to be honest, but that's just how it goes. We still have the queen on the obverse, and that is the coin. So I don't see any reason why we have to go over this much longer. I actually would have to say it's not that great, but it is not the worst in the series. Okay, moving on. We'll keep that over there. Here's another coin that I'm not too crazy about, but I am, for whatever reason, collecting this series. I went way too far with it. Probably should have stopped after the Tyrannosaurus Rex, which was the first one, but I actually went ahead and I picked up each one in the series, and this is like the second to last. There's one more that I'm waiting on, but it's a 12 coin series and it's about to end. And yes, I'm going to pick it up just because I have all of the other coins, and you know, I had to finish it. And I think the reason why I'm actually finishing the series is so that I can sell the complete set together, because I don't really care for it that much. That we'll go into some issues when we take a look at the complete set. But here it is, the Dunkleosteus, some kind of strange early fish or mammal, probably a fish. I don't think that's a mammal. Dinosaur from long ago. Okay, great. Very stupid coin. I picked up a second one of these just because, you know, I was putting in the order, and I love the Rwanda coins. And the thing about the gorilla is that when this came out in 2008, they were super limited, and they're really hard to find in this kind of, you know, packaging, or even, you know, any of the BUs are really hard to find. So I think, you know, it's not a bad idea to pick up the Restrike. So anyway, I just like the Rwanda coins. I'm not going to go into that too much. And then finally, we have the latest in the Gods of Olympus series, the Apollo. And you may have seen this already. Some images going around. These coins do tend to release a little bit later in the US, but I haven't seen anybody talk about this coin yet. It is available, I believe, at least from some retailers. So, you know, it's cool. This is a decent design. I like how you've got this female molded in with the tree. And I don't really know much about Greek mythology. I think Apollo is maybe a son of Zeus or something, but I really have no idea. So, yeah, looks like he likes to play the harp. There we have it. Okay, so moving on, we have a few more silver pours to look through. And I think I've showed off a lot of stuff in the last video. We went over some of the newer designs that were, you know, from 2024 that I haven't showed off too much of. But I had a failure casting, and I was supposed to show off some stuff last week and couldn't because, you know, I had that mishap, but here it is. This is the new one. We have some new designs, and I've started, you know, hand stamping them. They're all 2024s, and most of them are 001s because they're all from fresh molds that I haven't used before. So without further ado, we're gonna start and just look. Some of the old ones are here, so you're gonna see some familiar ones. And you know, I haven't completely finished these. They could get antiqued, they could get polished, they could get shined up a little bit. But here's the Lucky Dragon Stacker, 1 ounce silver. So I did have one minor issue with. Okay, so we've got another one, a new one coming up. This is a new design. I did kind of tease it a couple of videos ago, so let's take a look at this, which is a wizard portrait right here. It'll look a lot better when it's antiqued, and you can really see the definition there. But this is kind of a new one in a potential upcoming series that I'm gonna do, and so it's different. It's not a stacker like a lot of other coins, and it's not just a pattern. So here we have a portrait of a wizard, and then on the reverse we have the very same wizard, you know, on his way up to his castle, or a castle. And I think when this is antiqued, it's gonna look bonkers, man. It's gonna look so good. But I guess it's kind of like a Fable series, you know? So we have kind of like the close-up of the wizard, the portrait, and then we have, you know, kind of like a little story behind it. So I like this one a lot. There's gonna be more like it coming soon. This was just the starter, the first in the series. So very proud of it. And right now we're just calling it the Wizza. All right. And that is number 2, because I actually minted 2 of them already. Here we have the owl stacker. Now you'll notice that this has a little bit of extra material on that edge where the sprue was, and that is because I had a little bit of an issue with a few of the coins in this casting where they were looking like they were going to be underweight. So I had to cut them with a little bit of extra material so that then I could hammer it down. And that's just what I did. I cut a little extra, hammered it in to make it a full 1 ounce. And just a little trick of the trade that I found to save the piece so that I don't have to, you know, destroy it or remelt it. I mean, otherwise it came out great. Knowing how difficult it is to produce this stuff, that's, you know, I've come up with some nifty little tricks to make weight. But normally I wouldn't have that problem. But there was, because I had the failure last week, I was reusing the metal. And if if you've worked with molten silver before, or any kind of metal work, you'll know that if you use metal and then reuse it after the first melt, sometimes you can have maybe tiny impurities, or just I don't know whether it's a thermal type of issue, like being annealed or something, but it changes somewhat of the properties of the metal. And so when it does cool down, sometimes you get a little bit of thermal deformation, and or the size doesn't come out quite right, and or sometimes you get some extra porosity issues. So the last coin we were looking at was the Skull Stacker, and here we have the Tiger Tessellation. And this is nice. As you can see, there's a little bit of porosity issue. That's what I mean by porosity issues that can occur when reusing metal a little bit in too much. Like, you're supposed to add fresh metal to avoid those kind of issues, and if you're not adding enough, that's what can happen. And that's kind of what happened. So I cleaned up the mess that I made last time with the fail, but sometimes it leaves a little bit of reminders of those issues. So less than perfect cast, but acceptable, good enough that I'm going to keep them. This one, it has a little dirt and debris in some of the areas where I cleaned these, but I didn't do a 100% job of cleaning. Like I said, some of them are going to get cleaned up some more, antiqued, and polished, finished differently later on. This was another one that, cut a little extra, hammer it in, works out just fine. I mean, I'm not too unhappy with that, because otherwise, I would have had to melt the thing. It wouldn't have been exactly 1 ounce, but with that little extra bit, it definitely makes it a 1 full ounce. So I definitely picked up a few tricks of the trade to help make my life a little bit easier when doing these things. Now, this series of coins was all new molds. Everything you're seeing here is new molds, and there's differences here. So I was struggling with some issues previously. We're going to take a look at, let's see, which one was like one that came out where I didn't need to cut it, for example. So this one was one that, oh no, maybe that was a little heavy or light. This one, for example. Okay, so this was the Pegasus Stacker. Just have another look at that. But this one came out at the right weight. But as you can see, I need to clean it a little bit more. It's not 100% clean. But this is the Dolphin tessellation pattern. So this one made weight, and although I screwed up the stamping a little bit, as you can see, it's a little off. But this one made the weight, and this is how they should look, basically. Now, if you look at this and you compare it to some, oh gosh, I'd have to dig around to try to find the other one that I did that was, that's right there. Okay, so here's one from the previous generation. Now, if we look at them side by side, we'll notice that in the previous generation, there were some, those lines were more predominant, okay? And you'll also notice that it's more warped in the previous generation, okay? You can see that clearly. And this was honestly one of the better ones out of the bunch compared to other ones that I've done. But but this was okay. So I know that they both say 2024-001, but like I said, this was a different mold than this one, so that's why they're both marked the same. But they are different, and they are different molds. Now this one was thicker, and you can see when you look up close, this is thinner. However, they're both 1 ounce. The difference is that I was getting shrinkage up in the corner here, and with this one, I'm not getting that shrinkage anymore. So I solved that problem. I solved the warping problem. So I was able to decrease the thickness to make the 1 ounce of the piece. So I believe I have solved a lot of those issues that I was dealing with in the previous generation, and that going forward, they should look a lot more like this. So where the cut line is less prevalent, the warping is minimal, and the shrinkage over here is also minimal. You can maybe see a little bit of deformation there, but can't fix everything. So what else? We've got another gorilla. So yeah, and other than like the issue of them being a little underweight, just because of reusing the metal, they otherwise came out like perfect. They're really nice. I'm pretty happy. And this is another new one that you haven't seen on the channel yet. This does need to get cleaned up a little bit, but this is a new pattern that I've made. It's technically a stacker, although I don't think it's going to key in very well, but it will stack, but it probably won't key in too well. And I'm just calling it the extreme tessellation pattern. But you look at the edges, they're really wild. It's really cool. So this is the first one in the series. There are some more, and we're gonna take a look at those. So here we have this guy. This was the first in this batch, and the issue that I was having previously was that this is from the old mold, this is from the new mold. So if you look at some of the subtle differences, there's more warping. This is maybe a little less thick. There's less of these lines going around it. Still have some lines. That's somewhat unavoidable. But look, I had some issues there on that one. Let's check out another one. These are hard to lift out. All right, so maybe we can see a little bit better some of those differences. All right, so there we have some of the differences. Anyway, all right, so that's the dino coin, and then there's this guy. Now there's more of a difference going on with this one. So this was the previous version, and I had to sand this one down quite a bit, so it was actually more of like a barrel shape. I'm gonna show you on another version. So this is what it was looking like, more or less. Okay, this one got sanded down to make weight, but this was the rum skull. Okay, now the new one was redesigned, and whereas you can really see it here is where this was more rounded edges, this is now more flat edges. So you can kind of see the difference if you look closely between these two. So yeah, that's it. I may have repositioned some of the notches as well, and redone some of the notches, you know, so, but yeah, it is a completely different mold, more or less the same design. Pretty cool stuff though. So finally completed a 10 pack of these, and I'm starting to favor these designs, and I kind of want to make a few more in this size. It's cool. They are exactly 1 ounce with a little extra, but they look like they're 2 ounce pieces, don't they? Because they're just a little bit bigger than these ones, you know. But it's all there. It's just 1 ounce, but they have the illusion of being thicker, and that is actually because the rim is really solid, but the inside is actually quite thin and fragile. So, but there you go. Okay, so those are some of the new ones. I think we touched on just about everything, maybe 1 or 2 that I had missed. We're gonna just review a few of these as we kind of shift gears over to the 3D printing. This is one of the designs that I haven't yet reproduced because, you know, I was just not really sure whether or not I wanted to combine all of the animal stacker patterns with another reverse, but you know, I could. I haven't done it yet, but anyway, so that's the video for today, y'all. I think that's about as much as I'd like to talk about. There is one more thing. So remember I said I was gonna make another box for the Maples, the Britannias, just like I've made the Silver Eagle mini monster box. Well, I completed the first draft of the Britannia mini monster box, and it is in gray. I've already printed it. It holds 5 tubes, so it's actually bigger than a Silver Eagle mini monster box, which holds 100 or 5 tubes. But because the Britannia holds 25 coins in a tube, it actually holds 125 coins. So in the Britannia mini monster box, and it comes in gray. That will be going up on eBay here shortly. So thanks for tuning in. Remember to check the links down in the description below if you're interested in any of the 3D printed boxes. And I'm going to be doing a ton more castings and trying to make some new designs, so I don't get bored, you know, but I enjoy doing this stuff. So I'm going to see a lot more of this on the channel. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Like the video, leave a comment, share it with your friends, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.